very narrow ear canal entrance. It's possibly collapsed. So when we say a collapsed ear canal, the outer third of the ear is made up of cartilage, and this cartilage over the years can weaken, and it can then almost collapse upon itself. Think about the cartilage as a scaffolding, and it's kind of formed kind of an oval shape to resemble the ear canal, and that scaffolding, that cartilage can weaken, which can cause the ear canal to collapse. Typically in the outer third, the bony part of the ear canal is less likely to collapse, so the inner 2/3 of the ear canal very rarely collapses unless possibly you sustain some trauma or an infection and the bone weakens. Also, the posterior part of the entrance of the ear, so the cartilage that forms the back wall, that can continue to grow, and it can overgrow in some respects, and then fall upon its own weight. So there can be surgery that is performed to trim that cartilage or to reposition some of the cartilage so it's more sturdy and you have a bit of structural support. But that's only really done in extreme circumstances. In a case like this, as long as it's not becoming debilitating for the patient and they can have their ears cleaned on a regular basis, they're not developing ear infections or it's preventing them from wearing a hearing aid, for example, this patient won't need any surgery for that. They've got a really sticky consistency of wax. They also did have in their left side, but more so this side. So I've just instilled some medical grade olive oil spray. And as you can see, the olive oil spray helps to bind this wax together. When you've got glutinous, mushy wax like this, it can be really problematic to vacuum because it keeps blocking the inside of the suction probe and it comes away in little bits. If you use a Jobson horn, for example, you may just start spreading this soft consistency of wax against the canal walls, making it more difficult to remove. Naturally, if you use an ear hook or forceps, you're just going to dissect through this. So the olive oil helps to bind the wax together, and as you can see there, it comes out in larger chunks. Nice, healthy looking eardrum, just some residual wax around the edge, somebody in the midsection of the ear canal on the posterior inferior floor. And I'm just hovering over with a fine end. You see the layer of skin that's dyed. It's semi-shedded, but it's not migrating. So I'm just going to try and get some of this away for the patient. It's a bit more adhered in this section. So this area was definitely more narrow. The patient does have to attend, I think, every 6 months, so twice a year to have this performed, and it's always usually the right ear that's just a bit more, I wouldn't say complex, but just a bit more difficult in comparison to the left because of the anatomy of the ear. It's narrower and the consistency of the wax. Here's a nice piece come out there. So we generally either have dry or wet earwax, and that's governed by a single gene mutation on the ceruminous glands. There's a gene called ABCC11, and it codes for a particular protein called the ABCC11 gene, which helps to transport certain molecules within cells and across cells, and within the ceruminous glands it helps to transport lipid-liking molecules, and these molecules, some of them can be odorous either by origin or when they eventually reach the surface, bacteria feed on it and it then can become odorous as a byproduct. And if you have a functioning ABCC11 gene, you're more likely to develop wet wax because you get more